Yo, it's good. This is a straightforward guide to how to play Jujutsu Lineage. I'm gonna start off by saying like, sub, and share the video. I'd appreciate it a lot. Alright, so first things first, start off in this room here. After completing the tutorial, I'd really recommend you complete the tutorial so you learn what's going on, bruh. But you're gonna talk to this receptionist, and then you want to start off by completing your storyline. So when you complete your storyline, how you progress this game is basically by getting a stand, a sub ability, and a sub race, which are all unlockable through progression. Um, First things first, you want to understand your stats. So you want to go in here. Strength scales your M1 damage. So that's just regular M1s. Sorry, I got a sword equipped. But that's your basic M1s. That's the only thing that this upgrades is your M1 damage. Health is your health, obviously. It's not recommended to really put points in health because it doesn't really give you much health at all. Power increases your sub ability damage and your maximum power. So this right here is power. So it's basically like stamina. Whenever you use your abilities, you basically want to turn around and get your bar back, basically. So you regenerate faster and you'll have a lot more bar when using your abilities, basically. And your sub ability can be something like this. My sub ability right now is, I believe, Samurai Master. So basically you want to only be putting stats into power if you're gonna get damage for your sub ability, or you're trying to get more power, like more stamina, basically, for your abilities. Weapon is, obviously self-explanatory. A weapon like katana, boxing gloves, or anything like that gives your weapon more damage. And then I believe it also scales with Anubis's damage as well. So make sure to take that into tip. Destructive power is your stand M1s, and your stand M1s strictly. It's not for anything else. It's literally to upgrade your stand M1 damage. Destructive energy is what you use to upgrade your stand's skill damage, which is basically all these skills right here. So once you get a stand, which basically you'll end up getting a stand by progressing your storyline, and eventually you'll get a stand arrow, which you'll basically want to open your menu. You press M or go down to this little button right here, and you go in your inventory, and then you'll get a stand arrow. And then you'll turn around and use it in order to get a stand. So basically once you do that, then you can start progressing, basically, which you'll be doing already during the quest line, So from there on, I basically suggest putting all your points in destructive power, destructive energy, because you're going to want to maximize your damage output so you can actually kill NPCs. NPCs are pretty cracked in this game, so you're going to want max DPS so that you can prestige and level up the fastest. Here's a tip: if you want to see what kind of damage your stand is doing, you could always come up to an NPC and then use a move on it. So you see how I'm using this move, and now the numbers are popping up red. So if the numbers are popping up red, that means that it's scaling off of destructive power. It's also kind of hard to explain because this does come into play too as well. If I didn't have 62 in destructive energy, my skills also wouldn't be doing that much damage. And barrage is a special case because I believe barrage can also scale with strength, but that's yet to be confirmed. So you can always just test by using an ability and seeing whether it's red or blue. But that's basically stats in the meantime. So you're basically going to want to progress, talk to the receptionist, and do all the quests, and then you should get a stand arrow. Once you get a stand arrow, you're basically going to want to pop your stand and continue this storyline and farm for common chest or regular chest, because the chest is what you're going to need to get your arrows basically, and to keep getting more stand arrows so you could get a stronger stand. There is a wiki and a tier list available, so you can go see the rankings for which stands are the best. And then if you also wanted to just, check in game, you could always store your stand and then go to look at it, and it should tell you what rarity it is, the personality trait you get, which is basically like a passive ability that usually helps, with your stand or whatever. But you'll get a good personality or whatever. Then you'll get your overall stats, which are strength, speed, and specialty. Personally, a lot of people say that speed is the only one that matters, but that is not true. Do not believe that. All these matter, and they do definitely change the way that your combat plays out. You're going to be doing a lot more damage if you have S and somebody else is a D. It's just natural. These abilities right here are traits. You want to get traits to basically fluctuate your build on what kind of damage and what things you're going to be doing with your stand. So it's important to always make sure to keep an eye on these. And every time you get a new stand, you always get more traits. So make sure to always be changing your traits to see which ones are best for the build you're trying to run. And then the next thing we're going to talk about is raids. Eventually, I believe once you get to somewhere in the storyline, I believe it might be 15, you're going to have to come over here, which this is a bus stop. You want to use this bus stop system to travel everywhere. If you're not using this bus stop system, then everybody's going to be progressing faster than you. So you have to, be able to learn where these bus stops are. Also, if you're playing on PC, you can go ahead and press N, and you can also see where all the NPCs around you are. So it makes it a lot easier to kind of know what's going on. So you have your bus stops that pop up under RET, and then you have your PvE and PvP mission boards, which we'll go over later or maybe in a different video. But for now, let's go over to the bus stop. This is our best form of travel. You could have a mount, but this is literally a fast travel, so it's always best to be ready to use this. So we're gonna go over to bus stop 14. Bus stop 14, this is where you start your first raid at. And you come down here, and then you're gonna basically be doing the addable raid. This will be the first raid you ever do. When you come down here, it shouldn't be hard, but you should always try to get more than one person to at least help you with the raid, because it makes things easier. But it honestly depends on, it's a skill-based thing, because the amount of HP that a raid boss has scales with the amount of players that are in the raid. So if you think you can solo the raid, then go for it, and you'll be all good. If that's what matters to you. Like, another important thing to let you know is that raids scale off of death. So raids aren't time-based. You're not gonna be stuck in a raid and lose all your ranking just because you took 20 minutes to do it. It matters if you die or not. So if you have 0 deaths, you're gonna get an SSS rank. I believe if you get if you get 1 death, it's an S rank. The next death drops it down to A, and then so on and so forth. But honestly speaking, when it comes to raids, you really just do raids to farm drops, like chests and stuff like that. You're gonna do raids to mainly get common chests a lot, so that you could get stand arrows, because that'll be one of your best methods to getting stand arrows early on in the game. From there on, you'll get out of your raid, then you're gonna go and start progressing your storyline again. So don't forget, you want to come back to this bus stop. Make sure to always use the bus stops to progress the story faster. And then eventually when you can, you're going to want to prestige, because prestiging is required to get full progression in this game. You only have to prestige once, but if you want access to the prestige shop with more and more coins, you're going to have to keep prestiging, because you get 5 prestige coins every time you prestige. But when you want to prestige, you basically want to take that, bus stop number 10, you want to come over to this building up here, and then you want to talk to Archmage, this guy right here. And he'll prestige you if you have level 50 and 10k coins. So make sure that you have 10k coins and level 50 before you try to prestige. Once you prestige, you'll have access to the prestige shop, and here you can get all these amazing items like these perks, these regular items right here, these skins, which I'm pretty sure there are prestige exclusive skins like this one right here, Prestige the World High Voltage. And then you got Edict upgrade, which isn't something you're low-key ready to learn about yet. But now once you basically progress your storyline, if you're not max level, which you most likely won't be, you're gonna want to run around the map and talk to as many of these NPCs that you can, because that's a part of your main progression. So you're gonna basically want to do your best to find NPCs like this. This NPC is a cyborg NPC for the cyborg subrace, and you want to progress these different subraces and sub abilities as much as you can until you get to level 50, so that you'll have, permanent progression for when you do prestige. Like said, once you prestige, you keep your stands, you keep everything in your inventory. You just lose your level and your money. So basically you're just going to have to go, and it resets your storyline as well. So you're going to want to have to go and reprogress your storyline to get your levels back up and stuff like that. But you'll be able to keep all your stuff, like your sub abilities and stuff. You just have to go back and grab them back from the NPC. But other than that, let's see. You'll work towards getting a sub ability or sub race. You'll work towards getting a better stand. You'll want a prestige. And you should have to kill these bosses as well during your storyline. But it should be self-explanatory. I shouldn't have to explain that to you. I'm trying to think. Okay, world events. You're gonna need world events to eventually progress certain things, like getting a stand awakening and stuff like that. You need level 50, I believe, and 100 conjuring on your stand. So to get stand conjuring or XP, you're gonna want to come to the bus stop. Go to bus stop 17. And then when you go to bus stop 17, there's an NPC over here called Meditation. You want to talk to the Meditation NPC, and it should take you to this little realm right here. In this realm, you come here and then you battle yourself. When you battle yourself, it gives you conjuring XP. So we're just going to go ahead and beat this really quick. You get 10,000 XP, 1,815 experience, and then it uncaps your power. So you should basically be able to put more stats in, for said power. You're gonna need to basically do that till you get to 100 conjuring, and then after that you'll get a quest called Stand Awakening. And Stand Awakening is something else. I'll tell you. You have to complete 50 world events, and that doesn't mean just participate in them, but you have to complete them, which means that you have to win. To do world events, you're gonna want to always go to bus stop 1. This is like your central. It's basically the middle of the map, and everything's right here. You got your cure raid right there. You know, you got the bus stop here, obviously. Then you got your PvP and PvE boards right there. And right here is where the circle spawns for the world event. World events happen every 30 minutes. So you always want to make sure to watch your server age and then your real time to make sure if you're going to miss a world event. It also pings and notifications, so you should be good for that. But always make sure that when you hear a world event starting that you come to bus stop 1 and join the world event, because you're gonna need world events a lot to progress. It comes with most progressions for sub races, sub abilities, and then like I said, to get your stand awakening. So you make sure you don't want to miss out on any world events, especially once you get your quest. That's another very important thing, is you're gonna want to have to actually get your quest before you start progressing. So make sure that you are running around and talking to different NPCs to see what you need to unlock. See, a world event is starting, and right now it is X43 for me. So the server times always fluctuate because, you know, the servers are, you know, started at different times. So that's why I said it's not always very consistent, but it's every 30 minutes a world event starts. So you always want to make sure to see if you're going to get a world event. But that'll be it for the guide today. Hopefully you can learn from this guide, I guess. And if you have any questions, go ahead and put them in the comments. I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I'll probably make a video on anything you have questions on. Make sure to like, sub, and share the video. I appreciate it. Thank you for watching.